And we are live. So, welcome to episode 5 of An American Werewolf in New Jersey's coverage of HBO series The Last of Us. Here with me in the house tonight, we've got the Gore-Aphobe, who's been there from the get-go, from, I think, episode 2, or you might have been there for the first one. I can't remember exactly, but we've been going through these episodes every week. I think for the past couple of weeks, we've had some, scheduling adjustments that we've had to make. And then this past week was Super Bowl Sunday. So, we're here now to discuss episode 5. Gore, welcome to the show. First of all, thank you for agreeing to come and hang out for another week.
Thanks for continuing to have me, man. I appreciate
it. Yeah, man. It's been I think it's been a good collaboration. I've had fun with having you on here, man. So yeah, it's all good. Real quick, what did you think of this week's episode? It was called Endure and Survive.
This was my favorite one so far, man. Every episode, I love Bella Ramsey just that much more. I mean, I have totally fallen in love with her. I mean, she is fantastic, man. She has done a great job. Her character has developed. You're really seeing the kid that's still in her, and you're really seeing it when she was playing with Sam, the little boy. And I think she's stealing the show.
I also thought that this was the best episode of the 5 so far, the best that I've seen, and that, I like that. I like that they, within all this, horrible shit going on, that they had the wherewithal to insert a little humanity back into the main characters. We finally caught some humanity from the from Ellie and Joel. These sorts of things. And as it happens, it comes from their interactions with 2 other people, right. Henry and Sam. So, yeah, I thought it was good. Hold on a second. We got some comments here. We got the Ginger Ninja. What's happening, man? And he says, hey, how's it going? And we're good. We're, anytime that we can just be sitting here streaming and talking about The Last of Us, I mean, how bad can it be, right? So, yeah, definitely a good thing. Thanks for stopping in.
Hell yeah.
Ninja, did you see the episode? If you do, let us know. So, lots to talk about this week. I thought that this was the best episode like I've seen so far, and it starts off, and I think we're things are. I get the impression that things are really starting to cement.
Yeah, they're just now bonding, just coming together. And then they wake up with guns in their faces from a couple people that are on the run, and you really find out why that Kathleen has a problem. What I mean? You really understand. What I mean? Her brother left place, and so some shit that Henry did caused him to get killed. Henry's basically a rat or a narc.
Yeah. Did you freeze up on me there? Mm-mm. Yeah. So I think it really worked. It starts right off where we get to start off with the revolt in Kansas City. And there's just been this huge fucking uprising going on. They're killing people in the streets. They're celebrating. There's gunfire in the air, and they're dragging people by trucks, and they're just sort of shooting people here and there. And at first, my thoughts were, oh Jesus, it's some sort of hayseed, hillbilly uprising, because I was on Frank's channel after we did our stream last week, and we were talking about, people that were complaining about freedom and democracy 20 years into the zombie apocalypse. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? It's the fucking apocalypse.
Right.
We're not going to be having, the electoral college, it's kind of, things are kind of suspended. But
yeah,
what you find out is that the Fedra organization in Kansas City has been awful to its own people. Whereas the one in Boston, you got the impression there was some black market shit, and it probably could have been done a little better, but it didn't seem that bad. Here we find out that the Fedra organization here in Kansas City has been raping, they've been torturing, they've been killing people, summary executions. And so people have finally just had enough and have just revolted violently and overthrown Fedra. What were your thoughts about that?
Yeah, that was brutal, man. That Kathleen's a bitch from hell, and she does a great job, man. She's played by Melanie Linsky, and she is absolutely awesome. She's been in many things over the years. But
I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to turn it over to you just for a second. I got to do one thing. I'll be gone for 30 seconds. Go right ahead. Just keep talking.
All right. Yeah, and she's taken over. Her brother took over to begin with, and they're basically the rebellion of it. They've taken over, and they've decided, and they've got the mindset where they are going to treat the Fedra like the Fedra treated them. They got them hung up. They got them torturing them. They're executing them. And basically what's happened is her brother led that rebellion where let me see, Henry was basically the narc for them. Well, he narked because what he needed, he helped them because his little brother has cancer,
right?
And in order to get the cure for his cancer, he had to narc, and he had to narc her brother Michael out.
Well, it's an interesting series of things here, and it's done with great humanity. That's what I really enjoyed about all this. I mean, you got to see everybody's human perspective, on why they're doing what they're doing. Even if you don't like, I wasn't a huge Kathleen fan, but I sort of I understood why she did what she did.
She's a bitch from hell, man.
She is and she isn't. I mean, in my opinion, it's interesting. We'll get to that. But I mean, it starts out where we're watching this uprising, and there's just a lot of awful shit going on, like all over the place. And then you see, Henry and Sam are, trying to move through all this violence.
Yeah, we get a flashback. We get a flashback. They actually see the shit that happens with Ellie and Joel when they crash the truck.
Yeah, you get to see some of that, but I mean, even before you meet the Ellie and Joel, sort of overlap, you're seeing that, Henry and I thought initially that they were father and son, right? And it turns out that they're brothers. A much older brother and a much younger brother. I think Sam, what was he, 8? Or something like it was 8 or 10 or something like that, and he's also hearing impaired. So I thought it was an interesting little twist. They got a little sign language going on there. It probably helps because they get to stay quiet that way. So on and so forth. Hold on while I kick my cat in the rear end to get out of the way. And I thought that they were. I found them both to be likable.
Oh, hell yeah. He's doing what he needed to do to protect his little brother. He's already been through a lot of shit with him having cancer and everything anyway. So he's had this protection instinct of him long before this.
Yeah. And so you see that, he's doing what he's doing for a reason. We haven't gotten into the rationale yet as to why these things, why they're on the run, so on and so forth. But we know from last week that Kathleen and the militia group are after them. They're on their butts. Now we get to. It looks like Kathleen has rounded up all the quote unquote collaborators,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess these were the people that were openly reporting to Fedra on, the citizens of Kansas City, which, probably led to a lot of deaths,
Yeah.
so on and so forth.
Basically, the rats.
Yeah, they're rats. Um, I didn't. They don't go deeply enough into it for me to have much of a feeling of it one way or the other. And
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily find Kathleen to be a likable character,
Right.
especially from last week when we saw her shoot the doctor.
She's cold. Yeah.
She just murdered that doctor. She just wanted to murder someone. So it was already predetermined. Here you see that she's sort of lying to. Oh yeah, we're going to give you a trial. This, that, and the other. We'll. If you just confess, then we'll cut you loose. So on and so forth. There. None of that is actually true.
She
She
likes
has
to.
no intentions of letting any of them go. She has no intention of putting them on trial. It's just going to be, she's just going to have them all killed.
Yeah, she pulls a fold out chair, pulls it, sets it down there, sits down, and has a conversation with them, and you know what I mean. It's really smug, but I absolutely loved it. She did a great job.
It is, and it is because she's sort of off-putting because she comes off like a soccer mom.
Yeah,
Like she's like this. I mean, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but she's like this pudgy, sort of, gelatinous, sort of, she looks like one of those wine moms, just drinking wine out of a box. And, you'd see her watching reality TV and putting the kids to bed, this kind of thing. And so you see this cast person who does a good job. And what did you say her name was?
Kathleen.
No. Her real name.
Melanie Linsky.
Yeah, Melanie Linsky. And they were talking about her last week. It's an odd choice of casting, but somehow it's effective.
Oh yeah.
And we don't necessarily understand why all of these people in the militia are following her, because you've got people with guns who look like they have military experience, and you're just like, why the fuck are you following soccer mom over here? I don't get it. You're following wine mom.
Right. You don't know how she could possibly be in power of all these people.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make much sense, but eventually it gets to the point where she's going to kill all these people, and then we go back to Henry and Sam, and they basically have a setup here where, and I thought that this was interesting. They're going to, well, they find a hiding spot. And what ends up happening, I mean, the doctor that we know has been killed from the previous episode is, telling them that, he has to show his little brother that he's not afraid.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting the way that they did it, one, by giving him the crayons. And you see like what's happening from this child's kind of perspective, in that he starts drawing superheroes everywhere. Comic book heroes, these Superman, Shazam, type characters, and that, you can see, it's his way of coping, and it's his way of saying, we need someone to rescue us. We need a hero. We need a savior. You're looking at it indirectly. It's great exposition, I thought. You're looking at it indirectly, seeing it through the eyes of a child that, he wants someone to help them, someone to save them.
Desperately, yes.
And I just thought that was fantastic. I mean, they're in there for like 10 or 11 days until they run out of food. And in that time, he's decorated the entire place with comic book heroes on the wall that he scribbled in crayon.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the point in the story where it overlaps from the previous episode, and we see that they
You froze up, man. You there? Mike, you there, man? Is anybody else there? Is he the only one that's frozen? There you are. Okay.
Hey, you still there?
Hey, yeah. I was talking. I wasn't sure if you was the only one frozen or what.
No, yeah, my signal dropped or something like that. It could be one of those things where I just need to restart the router. Okay, so let's pause it for a second and say we got the ninja here, and he did see it. He said exactly what an episode. So damn good.
It was.
And I guess he's there on the freeze. Yeah, I'm here, but yeah, he's frozen. So I'm back. But I mean, we get to the point where we can see that it overlaps into next week, and that they run into Ellie and Joel. And I thought it was a good sort of exchange that they have, in that you realize quickly that Sam and Henry really don't mean anyone any harm, because like instantly they pull the gun and they're like, we're just going to lower it.
Yeah.
We're just going to lower the gun. If I lower the gun, are we going to be okay? And you got that very funny exchange where like Joel is using that, the sort of man voice that he has. He's like, yeah, we're going to be fine. He's like, that's not a very reassuring tone,
Yeah. She's like,
and Ellie's like, no, he's just got an asshole voice. It's going to be fine. You can do better than that. Come on,
Yeah. I love that, how she nonchalantly pointed out that he just sounds like an asshole. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm. He's just got an asshole's voice, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I like that they didn't spend too much time having to clear up, the rapport. That the rapport happened quickly.
I loved how Henry, to give his little brother strength and to give him courage and hope, he paints that mask on his face so he can be a superhero.
Yeah, that was great. That was something. It's an interesting viewpoint to, it's an interesting lens to view this entire thing, because we've gotten some of that from Ellie, but then again, Ellie is basically a teenager. Whether she's playing 14 or 15 or 16 or whatever she's playing. I think she's playing like 14. Here, we've got clearly what is a child.
Right.
And so you're seeing it from a much more innocent sort of viewpoint. And yeah, you're absolutely right. When he paints the superhero mask across his face, to distract him, one, two, to give him maybe a little bit of courage.
And a change comes over him right away when he does that, actually. I mean, he actually, I mean, you can feel it. You can feel that all of a sudden he's more confident and a lot more hopeful of the situation.
Yeah, it's a good setup that they have together. And like I said, I like that they don't spend a great deal of time with conflict here, because
they actually come together pretty quickly and actually start bonding. The kids are playing together and they're actually talking like like a couple of, not really friends, but you know what I mean?
But like a couple of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a couple of kids. That's an excellent point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and even the adults start bonding in their own way. They start trying to come up with plans, and he starts, just like Henry starts letting them know, hey, I know how to get out of here.
Yeah, I think a lot of this episode had to do with the two kids, with Ellie and Sam.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this had more to do with Ellie and Sam than it did necessarily with Henry and Joel. Because when the two adults see the two kids sort of instantly build rapport with each other and bond like almost instantly. They're almost forced because both of them are like these wards that are responsible for the kids. So they're just like, oh shit, this thing is happening, but it's a naturally occurring thing.
Yeah, the
You know,
kids become like siblings almost immediately.
yeah, because I think both of them are desperately starved for that kind of thing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, for them to revert and become children again is what's actually supposed to be happening in their lives.
Yeah, because that's what happens if you get a kid that's a little older her age around a kid that's 8 or 9, that 14-year-old is instantly going to drop down to that 8 or 9-year-old. And I loved how they portrayed that because
Yeah.
that is what happens.
Yeah, instantly bonding with the comic books. They find that room before they decide that they're going to, while they lay the plan out. And yeah, I mean, the idea is basically that they are going to use Ellie and Joel sort of almost as the muscle
Yeah.
for this, for this plan to get them out of the city, which is going to involve using the tunnels.
A tunnel that they're afraid to go down in because they think that that's where the clickers. It's when they first start referring to it. Henry was the first one that referred to them as clickers, which
Yeah.
I guess is what they refer to them in the game is clickers. But he knows something that they don't. That there's someone he knew went down there, someone reliable, and said that they're not down in there. But Kathleen and them don't know that, so they don't go down there. So that's their way out, supposedly.
Right, that's their way through. Now, let me ask you this: did you get a chance to watch this with your son? Because your son has kind of acted for us in the past several episodes as the sounding board for the comparison between this and the game. So
Yeah,
did you get a chance to talk to him? Did you watch it with him? And if you did, what did he tell you?
he said it was actually pretty accurate. The Sam character in the game is not deaf.
Okay.
But I guess the creator of the game, Neil Druckmann, was a little jealous of that. He wished that he would have made that character deaf in the game.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, he's not deaf in there, but the kid that plays Sam actually is deaf.
Okay, I like that because I think it added some innocence to his character.
Yeah, he said this episode was pretty accurate.
Okay, so that works. That works. So the plan is the four of them go down in the tunnels. Henry has the map, or at least the route in his head as to how they can, go through the tunnels and pop up through a residential area, and then pretty much just walk right out. Where the militia is not, because they're going through the tunnels, like you said, which they believe are overrun, but he believes are not. Now, when you heard that, did you think that Henry's description was accurate? I thought that I thought Henry was off, and I said, these people are going to run into a lot of trouble once they get down in these tunnels.
That's what were your thoughts? Too. I liked how they didn't go that route. And that leads us back to the last episode with the bubbling of the road and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I expected them to run into a lot of trouble in those tunnels, and I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't. They went another route. They knew we would expect that, so they didn't do it.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting. They subverted the expectations by avoiding what was obvious. And because in horror, the minute everybody says something is safe, that's the automatic formula for disaster. The minute someone goes in the middle, to run a quick errand, you know that's where it's going to happen. Here, they actually keep to the idea that it is actually safe, and so the kids just they start moving through they start moving through this area where they find out that we're going to be okay here. But you also, like you said, get to the part in the story where Henry actually confesses what happens, and why Kathleen is actually after him. And what did you think about that?
I loved how that came together. It it told us why she was in charge, how she became in charge, and it actually made sense of it. Her brother was actually the leader of that rebellion, and her brother got ratted out. I do believe by this Henry,
By
because
Henry.
this Henry wanted this antidote to help his brother Sam, which was dying of cancer.
Yeah, his brother was dying of leukemia. His little brother, his baby brother, is dying of leukemia. So, in order to get the medical treatment that his little brother needed, he ended up having to give something big,
Yep.
because those sorts of medications are extremely scarce. You're
Yep.
not talking about an aspirin, you're not talking about antibiotics, you're talking about leukemia 20 years into the apocalypse.
Right.
So the exchange for his brother's treatment is, giving up the whereabouts, I guess, of the leader of the resistance, which is Kathleen's brother.
Yes, and it ends up getting
Um,
him killed, and that's why she's
yeah,
so pissed. That's why she's so vicious, and that's why she's now in charge.
but it actually takes, like, because Joel initially, when he finds out that Henry is a collaborator, he's like, I don't fucking work with rats. And he's like, yeah, you do, because, we're going to get out of here.
Right,
We
and
are going to end up working together. But once you find out what Joel has actually done, what Henry has actually done, Joel really isn't in a position to judge.
true.
Because, and I think we're going to start to get into this. I saw the trailer for next week's episode. We're going to start to
Hmm.
get into maybe some of Joel's background and some of the awful things that he's done. And you get the impression that 20 years into the apocalypse, everybody's probably done some pretty awful shit to survive at one point or another.
You'd have to make it 20 years into this with these clickers, and and the ones that's even worse than the clickers.
Yeah, and you get the impression that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Once I thought about the ones that's even worse than the regular clickers, it kind of made me laugh because that blew my mind. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, and what ends up happening is, I mean, you find out that there definitely are worse things than the clickers, but I think what's actually worse than the clickers are the other people.
Right, right. Yeah,
It's the other people and the betrayals, and the reasons why. I mean, you're finding out that the reasons why people betray aren't just because people are evil, but because maybe they're just doing this out of necessity. Henry's doing this to save his little brother, so he has to get somebody else killed.
Yeah, and then Kathleen's doing it out of pure revenge and just
Yeah,
hatred. Yeah.
right. And that brings us to an interesting part of the story where we find out Kathleen and the militia guy, and she's hiding out in her old room where
Perry.
she grew up. And this guy had to go talk to her mom, which I
Perry.
just thought was a weird twist, but it sort of humanizes Kathleen.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you find out what ends up happening, and this man says it, the militia guy, um,
Perry's his name.
Perry's his name. Yeah, thank you. We find out that Perry says, look, your brother was a great person. He was a great human being, but he didn't lead this revolt.
Right.
So maybe he was just like a great person and, always talking about resistance, or maybe, doing small things here and there, but it was
He was like
Kathleen.
he was
Go
like
ahead.
their John Connor almost. You know what I mean? He was almost like their John Connor. They believed in his strength and in him as a person. That's why they followed him.
Well, I think that's part of it, but I think actually Kathleen ends up turning into the John Connor, because I
Right.
think she's the one who actually leads the violent revolt that leads to the overthrow of the Fedra. That's what I picked out of it. Like,
But
it's his death that ends up catalyzing the violence that actually leads to the successful revolt.
Yeah,
You know,
Michael got
everyone's
the ball rolling, but I'm not sure that this is exactly the vision he had.
and clearly we get to that on a couple of different occasions. They point out to the fact that this is not what he would have wanted.
Right. It's not what he had envisioned. He got the ball rolling, yes, but I think he definitely had something different in mind than this what she does.
Yeah, I think he had something a lot less violent, a lot more rational. You know, maybe where Fedra and just the people, the human beings came together. This kind of thing. I
Right.
don't know that they were living in that kind of world though.
Yeah.
And I think he just ended up getting chewed up.
Right.
He
Right.
was just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah. He got sold out, and I don't think he had a hard enough shell to be able to handle what he was trying to take on.
Yeah.
And she definitely does.
Yeah, and I don't know if she did. Until my impression was, I don't think she did either until he got killed.
Right. She probably was a soccer mom, you know?
Yeah, probably. She looks like if you were to see her driving up in some little SUV,
Yeah.
this kind of thing, or some minivan or some shit like that.
With a
Talking to
good
her, slightly overweight friends, outside the school. You wouldn't, mistake her for Adam. This isn't Sarah Connor.
yeah.
You know.
Making some cookies to bring to the team,
Yeah. Sitting in the bleachers.
This is
Yeah.
this is your reward. I baked this for the whole team because you guys did such a good job. Yeah, yeah.
Hey
Yeah,
man.
I can picture it. I can
Hey
picture it.
man, it's Girl Scout cookie season. I could see her working a table. No problem whatsoever. No problem
Oh,
whatsoever. So yeah, we find out that she leads the uprising, not Michael. And I thought that was really interesting. I thought
yes.
that was really fucking interesting.
Yeah,
And
and
it
even though
lends
you don't
more
like her,
credibility. Go ahead.
and even though you don't like her, you get interested in her and you get into her character. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
actually get interested in what she's about, especially when she's standing in what used to be her bedroom. She's getting nostalgic, and you know what I mean. And you can see that she's doing this all out of pain.
Yeah. It's completely out of pain, and it lends an enormous amount of context
Right?
to the whole thing that we didn't understand last week.
It's a great story. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great story. Hold on a second. Interesting point is Perry was the voice of Tommy, Joel's brother in the game. Oh, really?
Huh.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting. Okay, so I mean, I guess what's his name? Neil, the guy who invented the game.
The guy who invented the game is Neil Druckmann.
Druckmann, that's a drunk. Yeah, I've heard that. A lot of people. There's a lot of overlap between the voice actors from the video game and the actual
Yes.
actors from the series. So okay, yeah, that is interesting. Okay, all right, that works. So sure enough, exactly the opposite of how I thought it was going to happen, and very pleasantly surprised. We find out that they can pop out exactly where Henry said they were going to pop out. And,
Yeah.
they're walking down these neighborhoods, and, Henry's like bragging, see, my idea worked, this, that,
Uh-huh.
and the other. And then all of a sudden, a fucking sniper just pops out of nowhere and just starts pot shotting them. And I'm like, what the fuck is going, and I can't figure out what it is that's going on. What did you think at this point? I mean, when this
But
like out of nowhere, one person is just popping off at them.
oh yeah, I thought that was actually pretty cool. You know what I mean? And but it's like Joel says, he can't shoot, so Joel wants to comes up with the idea with I'll sneak up there, get him, and take him out. You know, but yeah, I like how that scene broke up the happiness and the celebration of hey, I had a kick-ass plan. I told you it would work. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like episode 3 where you just went into this fucking utopia for 60 minutes, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching here? Here, you were clearly in the middle of a fucking apocalypse, but there was humanity there.
So they're kind of they were almost the rebellion, with Kathleen was almost basically a step ahead of them. They thought that this was a possibility, so they sent somebody up there to take them out if they came through there.
One person, yeah, and you could tell that Kathleen probably didn't figure that they would make it this far, but just to cover that base, like a lot of soccer moms are, those attention to detail kind of people. She was, dotting all the I's. And I don't know if it was her idea. We don't know if it was hers or Perry's or whatever, but someone was there waiting in the off chance that they got out on, we can put one person there, just in case.
Yeah. He may have been there for a long ass time. We don't really know. I mean, that might be just his post in general.
Yeah, so one guy with a radio.
Yeah,
We'll send you a resupply every 24 hours. We'll send you some food and water once a day. And you rotate in for a week or something like that, and then we'll rotate somebody else out. And if you need something, here's the radio. We'll be there in 15 minutes. Nothing should pop up that fast. That which of course it does. And I just thought it was sad that when Joel gets the fucking drop on this guy, it's just some stupid old man.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck is this? And but then again, I thought that really did something because it was just there aren't any supermen here.
They're just people.
Yeah, there's no John Rambo. There's no, Dutch from the Predator. There's no, special ops. There's no special ops team or something. These are just people, and they put this old ass man in this window, and
he can't shoot, play because he can't see.
Yeah, and he's so damn old he can barely shoot anymore, and
it's nighttime.
Joel tells him, please don't do it. Just put it down and just stay up here for an hour. That's all. He doesn't want to hurt this stupid old bastard. He's like, don't make me do this. Hold on a second. We got Eric's here. What's up, Eric? He said, just stopping in for a sec to show support. Still haven't seen this or played the video game. I've heard nothing but good, though. So far, so good. Good. Not bad. We were a little off with episode 3, in my opinion. We talked about it. But by and large, we've enjoyed this series so far, Gore and I. It's just some stupid-ass old man. So he ends up having to kill him. And you're just like, well, that's fucked up. He just had to shoot this old man. And you never find out who it is. It's just some faceless, old man. It's just a fucking mess. And what ends up happening is you find out after Joel shoots him that he's been on the radio and that the fucking cavalry is coming.
A lot. The whole rebellion.
It's like everyone. It's like fucking everyone. And you're just like, holy shit, And so next thing you know, the trucks are coming, and these trucks are like these big dozer fronts, and they're just smashing everything in place, and they're on the run, and like Joel's up in that house, and he manages to get a shot off and kill the driver of that one truck.
Yeah.
But by then it's a little too fucking late because everyone has poured out of the trucks, and you're just like, oh man, this is a fucking mess.
They're calling, I thought we had a Walking Dead moment there where they was going to capture him and take him back and torture him and shit. I thought
that we were headed in that direction too, and I was just like, oh man, this is fucked. We really don't fucking need this, because
till I see the truck.
I'll be honest, I didn't see any of that coming.
Right. The truck started sinking, and I was like, oh, shit, what's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, not even that. There's the whole Kathleen angle again, because Kathleen, makes her appearance, and it's just, she did a great job. Let me put it, I agree with you. I think she's done a great job, because sometimes I learned that, characters that annoy the shit out of me the most are the ones that are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And she clearly fills this fucking, clearly checks all those boxes.
That's her job. She's meant to be annoying and hated and despised, and she pulled it off like a fucking charm.
Yeah, it really is impressive. You know, because she's just got this idea that her brother is more important than pretty much everybody. And she tells, Henry, they're hiding behind that car. I know what you did. I know why you did it. I don't care.
You might as well come out.
I don't care that your brother was dying. And the way she said it, kids die. They die all the time. But,
yeah,
and you're just like, you are just fucked up, lady.
He's just a child. Don't kill him. Hey, kids die every day.
Yeah, kids.
Damn.
Yeah, that's what he says, because he tries to negotiate his life in exchange for his brother's. Let the kids live. Sorry. They're with the people that killed the guy last week, and your brother just can't live on general principle, and kids die all the time. But it's inconceivable to her that her brother should die.
Yeah, she made it clear she didn't give a damn that everybody was going to die. And she did it with a straight face. She wasn't even angry. She just calmly said, "Hey, kids die every day." I was like, "Damn, man."
Yeah. The humanity in her is gone.
Yeah.
It's a huge contrast between what we've been seeing this entire time with this episode, with the kids playing, with Joel and Henry sort of coming to an understanding, and accepting each other, sort of, bonding by necessity, but genuinely bonding. And then you've got this other person who's this leader, but at the same time is also a murderer, and probably a fucking sociopath.
Yeah, she's been. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I fucking loved it though, man. I love to see that kind of character. You know what I mean? Because I was like, oh man, we got doom here. Something better happened.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking interesting. And it turns out that the only thing that ends up saving them is the fucking clickers.
Yeah. After the truck crashed through the house, it started sinking in, and when it started sinking in, I was like, uh-oh, what the hell's going on here? But I wasn't expecting that big of a thing to happen. These motherfuckers pour out like a bunch of ants, man.
Yeah, I remember. Well, here's what I remember. I remember that because I just saw this like right before we went on. Right. I saw this, and then I had a quick issue to deal with, which is why I only got on a couple minutes before we went on the stream, because usually we have a little time to talk, 5 minutes or something like that. But I remember that I was so wrapped up in Kathleen that I forgot about the fucking clickers.
Yeah.
I honestly forgot about it. I'm like, they're going to fucking, like you said, take them and torture them, or, they're going to kill. I knew they weren't going to kill Ellie and Joel, but I didn't know how it was going to work out, and I thought it was going to be really fucked up. And then all of a sudden, the truck fucking sinks through the ground, and you're right; those things just come flying. Like you're absolutely right, like fucking ants,
like a wave, man.
Yeah, it was just a fucking wave of fucking carnage, and they're just fucking everywhere, and they completely get overrun.
Oh yeah.
And
Joel's up in the house. Joel's up in the house protecting them the best he can, picking off ones that are getting close to him with a sniper, because Joel can shoot, and so he's protecting them from up there. But there's only so much he can do with that, And then you got what I found out. My son calls bloaters.
The big ones? Yeah. One of those pops up, and it just occurred to me as I was watching it, before we even get to the bloater, that revenge is just a fucking ugly business.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking ugly business, and it's cost Kathleen pretty much everything. You know,
It can take a good person and make them evil.
yeah,
It kind of puts me in mind. So not really with the revenge, but how a good person like Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader. How a good person becomes evil. There's always that one big thing that happens that turns a good, decent person into an evil person or a sociopath, like you said.
yeah, she was. Yeah, she was clearly fucking deranged.
Yeah,
And it, like, I understand why people followed her because I guess she led this uprising, and probably over time they would have realized, fuck, this person is, like, there are some people that can only take you so far,
yeah. But it
and
was
she
that,
was, once the violent uprising was over with, she really, there was nothing left for her to do, but, she's just in charge by default.
right.
Um, Hey, what's happening, Mr. Dan? Dan's here, and he's saying, "What's up?"
Yeah.
This a solid episode. Yeah, very solid. I think it was the best so far. Gore, would you? I don't know if you confirmed this. Would you say this was the best episode so far?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, yeah, we think so too. Reversed scene from the game. Joel was on the ground, Ellie in the high ground with the rifle. Huh.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's interesting. And I don't know if I was. I think I was talking to you about this last week that I'm considering buying a game console.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
I'm
you're
still
something.
considering it. I'm still considering it. I'm a little hesitant to go down that rabbit hole, man. So because I'll be buying this, and then I'll be buying, like Hogwarts Legacy and Call of Duty, and whatever else, and next thing you
Your
know,
channel,
you'll never hear from me again.
your channel turned into a game channel and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be playing horror fucking games, this sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
there you go. So, yeah, I mean, we get our first look at the bloater.
Man,
What did you think?
that motherfucker. The second he come up out of there, I told my son, I said, "What the hell is that?" And my son just started laughing. And then when he runs over and grabs Perry and grabs him by the body here and the head here and just rips his fucking head off, I was like, "Damn!"
Yeah,
The whole time, my son just sitting over here laughing because that
and
motherfucker. Damn, you shooting him and he's just walking right through it.
yeah, it's the bullets are sort of bouncing off. It almost looks like he's very scaled and calloused over.
He's huge,
Um, yeah, huge. Um,
badass.
seems to have a little more purpose, a little more slow moving, not just some frantic thrashing kind of, thing going on there. I like that it wasn't like a Hulk type thing. It had this
Yeah,
sort of misshapen kind of look to it.
yeah,
It looked more like a monster than like a superhero or a super villain, or
right.
something like that. Yeah, interesting because I had never seen a bloater before, obviously not playing the video game. I hadn't peeked ahead, or tried to find any additional content before this
Right.
went on, this went to stream because it streamed on Friday. And so
Yeah.
I just got to watch it today. Yeah, interesting.
Bloater was a
Interesting.
total surprise. Bloater was a total surprise to me, man, but a pleasant surprise. He's a badass.
Yeah. Hold on. The ninja says literally had one of my mates who bought the game and finished it in 2.5 days. Holy shit. He loved it and couldn't stop playing. Now he's getting part two. Yeah, my understanding part two is a little different than the first one. So yeah, I mean, one of the best scenes that I thought that were in there was when, hold on a second, I'll see if I can bring it up. Was when, hold on, was when Ellie was in the truck. And Ellie's in the truck, and that clicker for the kind of creeps in the back window.
Oh my god, yeah, it kind of slithers and turns and shit, man. That was weird.
Yeah, it was really fucking grotesque.
The way it came
I
over
mean,
the seats and shit was wild, man.
yeah, and you got the impression it was almost kind of a kid.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let's see if I can bring up the image here.
Because it was creepy. It's just the way it went over the seats just wasn't natural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Yeah, it was just a nasty fucking thing, and I was just like, wow. And I mean, that was. I'm under the distinct impression that that was pure practical effect.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that's something we really haven't gotten into. You know, the credit that the show deserves for some of these clickers and the practical effects for the few that they actually spend time, you know, focusing on.
True, true.
You know, these things are fucking awful looking.
Yeah, and
You know,
they aren't CGI. They aren't CGI, man. They created these motherfuckers.
no, and the fact that you're dealing with something that, unlike other zombies and you know things like that, the face is covered, like everything except for the mouth, like the nose and the eyes, and
Right.
it's just it's a really disgusting creature.
Yeah.
It's just disgusting looking, like you wouldn't want it to, like, you know, we just did Dawn of the Dead. You know, we did Dawn of the Dead the other day. You and I are talking about some zombies coming up, you know, these sorts of things. But for the most part, they look like people. The eyes are crazy or there's blood or whatever. But this just doesn't look.
These are old school monsters, man. These, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? These are fucking monsters.
yeah, these are fucking nasty, disgusting things. And yeah, when I saw that, I mean, that was the one that got me. It wasn't the bloater so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. They were doing the backflips, you know, like over the seats,
Weird.
trying to move forward to get to Ellie. And I'm like, oh shit, you know, this is really something here.
That was the scariest one that we've seen so far.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, basically the whole place just gets fucking overrun. Um, you know, we find these well, actually before it all ends, what ends up happening is we run into Kathleen one more time. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, doesn't this lady ever fucking, she's like a Karen.
Yeah.
That's what she is. She's like the ultimate Karen. That's it. I have fucking nailed what Kathleen is. She's like the Karen of the apocalypse.
Yeah. The ultimate, you know, Karen. Like Karens worship her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She is the Karen.
Yeah, like the ultimate Karen at the ultimate level of the video game. You know, it's not even Karen. They changed her name to Kathleen. They should have actually called her Karen.
That would have been fantastic.
That would have been awesome. They just call her fucking Karen. And yeah, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, why won't this lady just dry up and go away?
All this bedlam's happening and she's still focused on this shit. You know what I mean? She's not even, it's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I kind of consider a lot of this to be her fault.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah.
You know, it's just like, you know, like she's this great rebel leader. It's like, no, you managed to just fucking massacre a bunch of people. That's really not exactly what you might constitute as leadership.
Yeah.
And now all your people are fucking dying. You know, and you know, here you are.
She's not giving a fuck. She just wants to kill. You know, she just wants to kill fucking Sam and Henry. She doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and you know, basically, you know, she lets Perry fucking get killed for her.
Oh man, yeah, I love that. That was nasty. His head just ripped right off and tossed aside.
But I have the distinct impression that Perry probably would have been a much better leader than fucking Karen over here.
Yeah, because you could tell that he knew that she was unhinged. He was he was just loyal to her because of her brother, I think.
Because of her brother, and yeah, I mean, you know, by some circumstance, she manages to lead the violence that overthrows everything.
But he knew she had done bad shit. You know what I mean? He was well aware.
Yeah. Hold on a second. We got the ninja here. It says the bloater looks so damn good. Yeah. People either love or hate part 2. Okay. So, I mean, you know, Karen gets hers, you know, and, you know, so on and so forth. And one of the things that, you know, they end up doing, and I forgot all about that, is that I forgot all about this, the board. I used to have one of those when I was a kid.
Yes.
That
Yes.
writing board, that little carbon copy board that they had.
My
And
son didn't know what that was. My son was like, "How does that work?" I was like, "Oh man," I said, "That's old school, son."
yeah,
We
yeah,
we all used to have one of those, but they're not really around anymore.
yeah. I'm sure you probably could find them, but they're probably not a big seller. That brought back a lot of memories for me. I'm like,
Hell yeah.
oh man, I had forgotten that those even existed until I just saw it. And
Yep.
there's so much heart in the interactions. Again, you have these final
Yeah.
scenes between, Sam and Ellie, where they bond and they're talking about,
Yes.
um, being afraid.
Great
You
sweet
know,
moments. To the
yeah,
point where they bond so well to where they even give a big hug. You know what I mean? They've really gotten close during this.
yeah. And Sam's question at the end: if you become a monster, is it still you inside?
Right.
And I was like, oh shit! Like I didn't. Like that's just such an insightful. Like, are you trapped?
Smart,
You know?
smart little kid.
Yeah. And then you find out that Sam has been bitten,
Right.
and I was like, oh shit, that's fucking awful.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrible. Um, I mean, I didn't see. Did you see that coming?
No, not that moment. I wasn't thinking about that. I was kind of wrapped up in their relationship and what they were doing. You know what I mean? And their connection. I was kind of wrapped up in that part. So it kind of took me off guard. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just really fucking bold. That you're going to threaten one of the characters that you've just gotten really close to. And like I
Yeah.
was saying, I get the impression that this is just a fucking road series. And you're just going to be spending, one or two episodes with characters as they constantly just keep on moving.
Yes.
And so they do a really good job because you don't meet Henry and Sam until like the last 10 seconds of last week.
Right.
But in an hour, they managed to make you give a shit.
You get to know them. You get to care about them. You get to
Yeah.
root for them, and then you find out he gets bit. But she has that. But she has that special blood, and she thinks that it's medicine for it.
Yeah.
So
And she's like, hold on,
so
my
then you're
blood
like,
is
cool.
medicine.
So it's like,
Yeah.
cool. All right. So Sam's gonna be okay. Okay.
Yeah. And, you're because it threw me when I'm like, oh shit. And then she just immediately just opens up her hand and puts the blood on him. And, I was like,
And
well,
that was it.
okay. And I thought, well, that's kind of fucking cheap, but okay. Because I just don't want Sam to die.
Easy.
You know?
Yeah. Kind of an easy way out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on a second. We got Heroic Waffles. What's happening? Saying, hey,
Hey,
fellas, what's happening?
good
Thank you
morning.
for stopping in.
What's up, man?
Yeah, 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 yeah. We're definitely Waffles. Have you seen this? Did you see this week's episode? We're definitely enjoying it. So I mean, she puts the blood on him. Will you stay awake with me? Sure, I promise. You make these little kid kind of, comments and conversations. I promise that I'm going to stay up with you. And,
Yeah.
she ends up
Yeah.
staying awake. And then the next thing you know, you know, it's just fucking awful.
Yeah. Yeah. And for the
Um,
first time, we get to see the very, very, I think the first time, or one of the first times, we get to see the very beginning stage of the infection.
yeah. And the minute I saw the back turned, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. And
No, this is not fucking happening.
yeah,
This is
she's like,
not.
Sam. Yeah.
And he just fucking goes off
Yes.
on her, and they burst through the fucking door, and it totally wakes up fucking Joel and Henry, and then I didn't know what was happening at first,
Right.
because
Poor
all of
Henry.
a sudden, Joel won't let. I mean, Henry won't let Joel fucking help.
Yeah. Poor Henry, man. Poor Henry. What a situation.
Yeah, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on here? And you could see him, he's got the fucking gun, on Joel, and I'm just like I didn't know
Yeah.
what was going to happen here.
Right. Right. Me either. And
I didn't know what was going to happen here, and I'm like, what the fuck, and I'm like, and then it just all goes to hell.
yeah, it's like Henry. It's like Henry goes into two different Henrys. You got the Henry that knows what he needs to do, and then you got the Henry that won't accept that. But the Henry that knows what he needs to do, kind of ends up, he ends up prevailing, and then the other Henry steps in and says, "What the hell have I done?" I loved that.
Yeah, and it's fucking terrible. He ends up having to shoot his own brother, and he just does it like with so much adrenaline.
Yeah, and then
Like
immediately goes
you ever see those scenes where you have to kill someone that you love during the apocalypse, and the sad music starts playing, and
right.
I've seen a couple of Walking Dead episode deaths like that, especially in the
Yeah,
very beginning when there were
yeah.
so few people. And
Got to do
somebody
what you got to
died, and you're
do.
just like, what the fuck? And they always made it super sad.
Yeah,
Here
very
it
dramatic.
just happens like that. Like he just
Yeah,
reacts. Like
blam. Yeah,
yeah, he's and you're just like, did that just fucking happen?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and you're
That
just
was
like,
definitely
holy shit.
it's
Um,
definitely a change because it doesn't give you a chance to get into that sad dramatic moment. It just bam happens, and then like I said, the other Sam comes out and says, "What the hell have I done?"
and he's fucking stunned, and the next thing you know, he just fucking and I had. Did you think he was going to off himself?
I wasn't sure it was happening so damn fast. I wasn't sure, but it kind of struck my brain. It was one of those quick thoughts that went through, how they go through your brain. It
Right.
kind of went there real quick. Now he's going to kill himself, or he's going to kill them. I wasn't sure exactly what he was going to do because it all happened so fast.
Right. Right. And it's just. I mean,
But I wasn't surprised when he did.
well, I mean, you look at it from his perspective.
That's his whole reason for living.
Yeah, it's just so fucking awful because he's had to do all this awful shit to
Cured his
protect his
cancer.
brother.
He cured his cancer. He become a rat to cure his cancer. They've been hunted down because of it. He survived, protected all this way, just for him to get bit and now have to shoot him.
Yeah.
Awful. Yeah. Poor guy. I really felt for him. So when he did off himself, I wasn't surprised one bit because I mean that was his whole reason for being. He went through
Yeah.
so much. Like I said, he betrayed everybody and was hunted just to get a cure for him. And then it ends like this. It's
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really fucking bold, is what it is.
And
And
Joel's shocked.
well, no, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I'm glad. Like I could have accepted if Elliot cut her hand open and cured him.
Yeah.
I could have accepted that.
Yeah.
But looking at how they actually did it when I got to the end of the episode, as sad as it was, I said to myself, I'm glad they didn't go that route.
Right.
Because
Right.
this is just so much fucking better.
It was
They didn't go for the easy fix.
Yeah. The predictable way. That's one thing about this episode. This whole episode was completely unpredictable. If you're like us and haven't played the game or don't know the game, this episode, everything that you predict might happen went the other way.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. And the episode was much better for it.
Oh, absolutely. That's what made it great.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't like to be able to predict and know everything that's going to happen. You know,
No, because there's no point
that's
in
the way The
watching it
Walking
if
Dead
that's the
got.
case.
Yeah, that's the way The Walking Dead got, and that's why it became
Yeah.
not as good of a show.
Yeah, well, they went far past the
Yeah.
life expectancy of what that show should have.
Like the same thing happened over and over and over again, but just with a different villain.
Yeah, you got your towards the end. I was like, okay, there's going to be one gratuitous gore scene, with the walkers or something like that, and it'll be whatever else it is.
You
By
don't know
by the
what
time
the hell is
by
gonna
the time
happen.
by the time they got to Negan, they
Yeah.
had jumped the shark.
Yeah.
They had jumped the shark.
Even though Negan was, Jeffrey, he is so great.
Oh yeah,
He's so
Jeffrey Dean
great.
Morgan was great, and I enjoyed his character. Yeah.
Oh, he was fantastic. He was a savior for that show.
Yeah, because for a while there was nothing else to look forward to except the scene with Negan.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Negan scenes. He was stealing scenes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Especially in the very beginning, when he just starts killing people. Those first couple scenes, and he kills Glenn, and he kills the red-haired dude.
God. Your eyes hanging out is so gross, man. Your eyeballs hanging out.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, and I think that went on for 2 seasons. I think Negan was in charge for like 2 seasons of everything, and yeah, that was fucking good. But
you can't predict this show. You cannot predict what's going to happen in this show so far, and I love that about it. People that you think is going to be, it's like even going back to The Walking Dead, people that you got used to and liked, they lasted at least longer than an episode. These motherfuckers don't even last longer than an episode in this show.
Yeah, life is cheap here, man. Life is cheap so far. Life is cheap. Hold on a second. He says, talk about a gut punch ending. That was a perfect example of it. That was one that you were hoping for a happy ending, but damn, was it good way to do it? Yeah. And don't get me started on Negan. Okay. All right. So I mean, that's kind of how the story ends, and now Joel and Ellie it's just them again. They
Joel
made it,
and Ellie's like, "Come on, let's go." I said, Joel's kind of still in shock over what happened, and Ellie just kind of sadly shakes it off and says, "Come on, let's go."
Yeah, and I wonder if that's a sign. I don't think it is, but it may be a sign that Ellie's becoming jaded.
Yeah,
especially taking she having this opportunity to bond and to be a child for a second, just to have it pulled away.
Well, she's able to shake it off because she was born into this world. I think that's the difference. Joel wasn't. Joel was born into, and most of his life was in the world that we're in. But I think the reason she's able to shake that off is because she was born into this world. Remember, she was chained down.
Well, I don't think that she's shaking it off so much as the little stupid things that she's been doing all along. That part of her is sort of being calloused over. And so what I saw at the end of the episode was that callus starting to form now.
Right.
You'll probably seeing fewer and fewer, dumb teenage Ellie kind of mistakes.
She's going to explode. So sometime later on, she's going to explode into some kind of emotion, and it's all going to come out.
Yeah, it might. But the episode basically ends with them on foot, and they're on their way to Wyoming. And that's kind of how it ends. Did you see the trailer for next week?
Yeah.
Okay, so
episodes end. I love how the episodes end. They just end. You know what I mean? It's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the episodes that we're seeing, end with them leaving the particular location that they have been, for the 60 minutes or whatever. Yeah. So, leaving Boston at the end of the first one, leaving. Yeah, leaving
You know,
Tess at the end of the second one. Then it sort of goes off the rails in the third one a little bit. But then they're leaving Frank and Bill's house.
right,
This one is the first one that you sort of stayed in Kansas City was 2 episodes. But then now they're leaving Kansas City. Now we get to the 6th episode and we're in the bottom half of the season, and
right.
it looks like they're going to make it to Wyoming. It looks like they're going to make it to Tommy, his brother. I saw one of the characters, and she's one of the leftovers from True Blood. Did you watch True Blood?
Yes.
Lafayette's cousin or sister or whatever it was, the black girl.
Really, I didn't see her.
She's gonna. Yeah, I saw her in the trailer. I recognized her. Tara. Yeah, that's it. Tara. She was also. She was in the 3rd season of Hannibal. She was the. Oh really? Fuck. That's perfect fucking horror, man. That's perfect.
Yeah,
fucking horror.
I've been meaning to watch that, and also the Penny Dreadful. I think is what you. So that's too. It's definitely on my list.
That's goat level shit, man. That's goat level shit. No lie, no bullshit.
Cool.
So, I mean, hold on a second. Ginger says, I'm stopping before the trailer for the following week going into the new episode blind. Okay, well, that's one way to play it. All right. But, I mean, it looks like, so cover your ears there, Ninja. Well, we've already said it. They make it to Wyoming in the next episode, and, he's going to see his brother. And I get the impression we're going to see maybe a little bit of Joel's backstory. In these past 20 years, because it looks like him and Tommy are going to be arguing a little bit about why each of them is where they are, currently, so on and so forth. But best episode of the season so far. Have not been disappointing.
I love what this show does. This show does what a show's supposed to do. When it ends, it ends with you still wanting more. It ends with you going, okay, what the hell's going to happen now? And I love that about it. That's what a show should do.
A lot of HBO shows do that. A lot. They've had a few. They've had some duds. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, the better HBO's had some great content. I mean, we got Rome here. We got Carnival there. I think I got John from Cincinnati back over there. Game of Thrones. At least for the first 6 or so seasons. 5 or 6 seasons. Super fucking solid.
Even back in the day with Oz,
Yeah, Oz. I mean, just or shows like The Sopranos or something like that. I mean, they've had some quality fucking programming on there. So, by and large, when you see something from HBO, you're probably going to be getting better than average. This, has a lot of it has a little bit of heat on it from the comparison to the video game or whatever. But we're not coming from that perspective. So for us, there's just enjoying it or not, but hopefully enjoying it. So I'm looking forward.
To me, it's coming together good.
So far, I mean, we're coming up on episode 6. And so, the only constants in the show so far have been Ellie and Joel.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different in that sense, in that, the world building is just them moving from place to place.
Right.
So far. Hold on. It says, got to get back to work. Going to check out Gore's Arrow vid when I get back. All right. Very cool. Very cool.
Cool. Thanks for coming in and talking to us, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bro. We'll chat soon. Have a good day or night. All right. So, is there anything left in the episode that you wanted to discuss that we missed?
No, I've pretty much covered it really well, man.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Plug something. What do you got coming up? Anything this week?
Are
you on hiatus? Yeah, I know you were considering a small or scaling back.
Yeah, I took a little bit of a hiatus, but I basically the hiatus that I wanted to cut back on the watch alongs a little bit and do a little bit more original programming. So I'm getting back to and Horror for All with Night from Night Watch Zone. We're gonna get ready to do episode 5 of that here pretty soon. I'm gonna continue and up the level of my collection vids. I'm gonna do a little bit more of those because that's what I started my channel out on, and it's something that I stopped doing for a while. You know, I'm gonna get into the horror figures, just a little bit of that, and do watch along.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do the shit you enjoy.
I got so much content here. I might as well show it.
Yeah, why the hell not? That's what it's there for.
You know.
All right. So okay, so we got those coming up, but well, I mean, you can find. I'll put your link to your description. I'll put the link to your channel in the description. And you can find Gore's content and anything that he's got coming up, where he's always posting on Twitter or Instagram or that kind of stuff. So you can always find his stuff there. For me, on Wednesday, we'll be live as we go at it with Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, which is just going to be a really fucking fun movie with Tom Cruise. Yeah, Dakota Fanning. And a very terrifying fucking Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins is the scariest fuck in that movie. He's just fucking crazy.
Depart in the basement. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He plays that type of thing really well. If you remember in Clint Eastwood's Mystic River, he was like that too. He was great in that.
Oh, that was just such a fucked up movie.
He is so good in that, man. He is out of his fucking mind.
That's a crazy fucking movie, man.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, who's really great? Laura Linney.
Oh yeah, always.
She becomes like Lady Macbeth at the end of that, and just tells him it doesn't make a difference if you killed the wrong person.
Yeah, and how she sells out her husband. How Marcia Gay Harden ends up fucking up royally.
Yeah, and everybody just ends up fucking eating it. Like the police, Kevin Bacon knows he's not going to do anything about it.
Lawrence Fishburne and Kevin Bacon over here, yeah.
Yeah, Sean Penn just gets away with it. He just gets away with it. Oh, awful.
Yeah, very well made, well acted, well cast, well directed.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood directed that one.
Clint, I'm a huge Clint Eastwood fan.
Oh yeah.
So by anything he does, I praise, man. I love Clint's all of his acting movies and his directing.
Good shit. All right, so we'll be doing War of the Worlds on Wednesday, and then Thursday, if I have enough time to finish it, I'll be doing a video for the entirety. I'm just going to do a solo live stream on all 3 seasons of Penny Dreadful. I'm at the start of season 3, so I haven't. I'm going to have to finish up some episodes between then and Thursday. And if not, then I'll kick it today and maybe do it on Friday or something like that. But yeah, War of the Worlds on Wednesday, and then either Thursday or Friday doing a live stream for Penny Dreadful. So that'll be us for the week. And then you and I will be back next week, perhaps even on Sunday. We'll have to see what we can put together, covering episode 6 of The Last of Us. So my thanks to the Gore-Aphobe for coming in one more time. And as always, a good discussion. And I guess thanks to everybody in the chat for stopping in. Well, definitely thanks to everyone in the chat for stopping in. And we'll see you in the next video. All right, take care.
Take it easy, man.